Did anyone see Sarah Palin's reaction on Fox News? She actually came up with a new word for the whole thing. Let's have a look.
You know, another big question that has to be asked, Greta, is are we at war? I haven't heard the president say that we are at war, and that's why I, too, am not knowing, do we use the term intervention? Do we use war? Do we use skirmish? What is it?
But that is quite brilliant, because that is the American reaction.
Yes.
It's a skirmish.
What is
it's a skirmish. They're
yes.
desperate not to be involved, but they sort of are.
You can tell the way she talks that literally every word she doesn't know what the next one's going to be when she's
So to round two, a new idea from the props department.
Wow, we've got a props department.
We have, yeah.
Fantastic.
So for the last time, it's the strengthometer of news. Fingers on buzzers.
What?
I get my... Fingers on buzzers, teams. Here's the first one. Caroline, do you think we should go to war against the Liberal Democrats? Or is that too harsh?
Too harsh.
That's who Sarah Palin thinks she is going to war. The Libyan Democrats.
Don't tell me you've lost your little sort of something for her, that you had a little sort of twinkle in your eye whenever Sarah Palin was mentioned, or something in your heart that just said, Sarah.
Just as I don't agree with all her views, doesn't mean I've written her off as a woman.
I have to now show you a picture of,
yes,
of
please.
the house. It looks like Hitler.
I'm on tenterhooks.
Yeah, sort of.
He wants to get rid of that pole in front of it, by the way. And this, of course, allowed the Sun to dust off some pictures from the website catsthatlooklikehitler.com. I'd like to see a picture of mein Führer.
That's fantastically good. It actually looks
really
more
good.
sinister than Hitler.
I'd rather have Hitler on my lap than that cat.
Well, you know your own business best.
He'd been phone hacking people for years, and they said they weren't. They said it was the result of a lone hacker. And the editor of the News of the World at the time said he had no idea what was going on. I mean, why would he? He's editing the paper. I can tell you, I've no idea what happens at all at Private Eye. No idea.
That is self-evident.
Yeah.
You only have to read the issue. But Mr. Coulson has resigned twice now for something he didn't do.
Yeah. Which is very noble of him. He may even go to jail for something he didn't do.
Hacking celebrities, everything in their lives is on Twitter these days. Anyway, Bob, you're on Twitter, aren't you? I've done a bit of research.
This afternoon, yeah.
What were you twittering?
I was seeking advice about this programme.
Who from?
Oh, anybody. Anybody who'd give me any. They all said I was mad to come on, and that you would murder me.
Well, that's a bit strong.
You
might never walk straight again, you know what I mean? A bit of that, but, you know...
One of them said the little slaphead at the end will murder you.
Was this Piers Morgan you were talking to?
Do you think, though, that Murdoch could just ring up Number 10 during your time there and sort things out? Do you think he had that much access?
My time there.
Well, you were in the cabinet. I know it's easy to forget.
He's thinking about the slaphead remark from earlier.
So how about an answer, then?
I know nothing.
You know nothing? Is that why you were in the cabinet?
So what did you think of him, then?
Oh, Gordon?
Yeah, he was all right, wasn't he?
He was the Prime Minister.
Yeah. And you can't have a more ringing endorsement than that. What does he do these days, since he's no longer on the telly? What does he do?
He's down here, he's pressing some buttons for me.
Oh, is he?
You're right, Gordon.
According to one newspaper, he's going to run
some water.
IMF.
He's down there.
In a TV programme. The editor of Private Eye has also been embroiled in the scandal, as evidence has come to light that News of the World journalists have been intercepting his messenger pigeon.
How far back can a human mouth go?
I don't know. Would we like to find out? Gordon? Ian, you got an idea?
No, not a
No?
clue.
Does the name Gillian Duffy?
Yeah,
ring
of
any
course
bells?
I know. This is Gillian Duffy, the woman who did for Gordon Brown.
That's right.
She's the Susan Boyle of British politics.
What is it they teach you at Oxford that's so good? Because then I don't have to bother going then.
Who paid for your education?
The taxpayer.
Yes.
And then I pay my taxes, Bob, and that funds the next generation.
Right.
Or it's meant to, except you introduced tuition fees, remember?
I also left school and started paying taxes so I could pay for your education so that you could start behaving like a stuck-up, well-educated...
I didn't go to university, I worked for the News of the World. I haven't paid any tax for 25 years.
Good, right.
The picture showed an empty departure lounge. And when I fly Ryanair or EasyJet, it's not empty.
You're a very popular man, Ian.
Yeah. You plotted against him, didn't you? And he didn't like you because you tried to get rid of him.
Oh. How do you know that?
He told us. He's nodding. And going like that.
Never going to give.
We're never going to let you down.
We're not going to run around and desert you.
Never going to make you cry. Never going to say goodbye.
I won't tell a lie.
And hurt you.
Ooh.
It's Yuri Gagarin.
It is.
It's 50 years since he was the first man in space. That's topical news. And it's very exciting, because it's 50 years since he was the first man in space.
Who was that?
And a lot of people are saying, hey, 50 years since Yuri Gagarin went up into space. That's a long time. That's 50 years.
I forgot to get my present. 50 years? How long has it been?
50 years. Since he went up.
What's his name?
Yuri Gagarin.
What did Gagarin say as the rockets were igniting, and which has become his catchphrase?
Can you smell a dead dog in here? I'll open the window. Oh, that's a mistake.
Did he say to infinity and beyond?
In a Russian accent?
That would have been much cooler. He actually said, Poyechali, which means, off we go. Hooray!
Do you have a pilot's test?
When I hit the dashboard, re-enter.
Who are we talking about now? Enough of your Hollywood stories,
We don't
young
need to
man.
go into that.
Yes.
You stay where you are, Gordon.
Gordon Invisible is doing better than he ever did Visible. There's a sort of warmth to the invisible presence of Gordon Brown.
A good lad, I tell you. Very good lad. Cold hands, but a good lad.
Touching, isn't it?
It is touching. Excuse me a minute. Hold that, Gordon, thank you.
You've just given Gordon Brown your...
Yes, he's grateful as well. Look at him. Looking at me with his big eyes. Oh, love you, Gordon. What was the Czech president spotted doing this week? Kevin?
He stole somebody's pen.
He did indeed.
Have we got a clip?
We do. He stole the ceremonial pen during an official visit to Chile.
Excelencia, Presidente de la República de Chile, señor Sebastián Piñera Echenique.
Muy buenos días. Quiero en primer lugar dar una cordial y cariñosa bienvenida al presidente Václav Klaus y a la delegación de amigos de la República Checa que nos visita. La verdad es que la República Checa ha tenido siempre una gran participación, presencia en nuestro país.
How happy is that guy going to be when Argos open up in the Czech Republic? Is there any comeback to it?
Well, he must have been annoyed they were playing that music while he was doing it, because it's a bit of a giveaway.
Is that a squirrel?
No, it's a rabbit.
It's a rabbit.
Not a lot of wildlife in Scotland, is there?
Word spreads that food ministries have agreed to a worldwide ban on turtle soup.
I think you should do the coverage at the wedding, Paul.
I'd be very happy to do so, but they won't let me.
They've given it to the bloke from Formula One.
No.
Yeah.
And there
here it comes!
No, you're mixing him up with the guy who did it before. That was Murray Walker.
No, same one.
It's very rarely hammered.
Hammer time. You can't touch this.
Don't try and be cool, you're a Tory MP.
Oh.
In fairness, quoting MC Hammer isn't massively cool now.
It is in Wales.
I've no idea what they're talking about.
It was an advert for T-Mobile, just to put this sort of thing to bed. Some Americans apparently thought that was real footage. No, it's true. According to the Metropolitan Police, what will not be tolerated on the day?
Any attempt to crash the wedding by people who haven't got a ticket.
Isn't it normally an invite to a wedding?
What did I say?
A ticket.
A ticket. Well, I was thinking of the one that Prince Andrew sold me.
According to the Telegraph, Kate has invited her very first boyfriend, Willem Marks.
I like Williams that are too posh to bother with the E bit.
It's very posh.
Willem.
What's above that? At the bottom, you've got sort of people like Bill Maynard. Then if you're a bit posh, you've got Will somebody.
Above that, it's just a noise.
Then it's William.
What's your name?
Is it Bill, Will, William, Willem?
That's the top one. If Kate and William have a girl, that she might be allowed to be queen.
Rock on, sisters.
Yeah.
Definitely do that.
Rock on, sisters?
Yes.
The Tory party really has changed. That's white tie, though, not morning dress.
Is it?
Oh, dear, you knew that off the top of your head. That's a bit posh, isn't it?
This is what...
dear.
You picked that up. You picked that up right away, man of the people.
That's what he turned up at
Rock
the
on,
airport
brothers.
Just on,
Your cover as ordinary working-class geezer has been somewhat blown in the last minute. Ian Hislop, or should I call you Gary?
Will you be having a street party?
Suggests I live in a street. No, I won't be at a street party, but I shall be having a party watching the wedding on television.
Will you?
Yeah. With myself.
It's like... Oh, God! That's one of the most grotesque images that's ever passed through my...
Let me replace that image for you. I'll be
Please.
taking my 15 yards of bunting and hanging myself as soon as they walk.
Will you be having a party, Louise?
Oh, I might take the kids to a street party in Gretton in my patch. So perhaps we'll just wave the bunting. Nick his bunting and wave it.
You'd cut me down, then take the bunting with which I've hung myself and give it to your children?
Look, have you not heard that
This means we're all in this together?
These are times of austerity, Mr. Merton. I can't let perfectly good bunting go to waste, you know.
Well, I think it shows a caring side to the Tory party that they existed.
Absolutely. Plus,
If you haven't got a suit for the wedding, go down the cemetery, dig some up. Yeah, go on. He's only been dead a week. Or put it on.
Are you going to the wedding?
Sorry? Am I going to the
what are you
wedding?
doing?
I haven't got a ticket. I've got a
See
stamp
if
on
I
me.
can get you a couple.
What's going to happen at Buckingham Palace at precisely 12:30 a.m?
Oh, they're turning the lights off.
They absolutely are.
And all the foreign crews are furious because their audiences will have just woken up. So when all the American broadcasters want to stand outside Buckingham Palace and say, "Here I am live," it's going to be completely dark. Selfish of us. Why couldn't we time the wedding to be in the middle of the night here so the Americans could watch? And I hope there are ad breaks so that NBC can shove in an advert for what is it? Nachos they have?
What is it?
Oh, blimey.
Do I need to do this number 6 once?
Helen Mirren.
Yes, sorry.
Oh, that's
right.
nice. We'd all like to do Helen Mirren, but we're going to do a bloody quiz show, mate. That's what we're doing here.
At the end of that round...
I'd quite like to be head of the IMF.
Well, at the end of that round, Ian would quite like to be head of the IMF.
Can't you nominate yourself?
Yeah.
Right. I think you'd do a very good job.
Can't you get hold of a ticket somewhere? I briefly saw a bit of news this morning, and he was on the news doing that.
Is that the kind of dedication you've got to this show after all these years, Paul?
Well...
I briefly saw a bit of news this morning.
I seem to win, though, how much I want. What can I say?
Yeah, we've had AV here for years.
They're trying to level the playing field by being pig ignorant, but it doesn't work.
A, B, C and D.
You've got 4 blank faces. You cannot see who they are. You're not allowed to know who they are. They may or may not have done something with ladies who are not their wives. One of them definitely doesn't rhyme with even though he's a footballer. And one of them might or might
call
not...
the police? I'm sitting here next to a Conservative MP who's trying to break a series of super injunctions. I'm absolutely appalled. These gentlemen are perfectly entitled to privacy. They may have slept with a bunch of slappers, all of them, without telling their wives, but that is entirely their own affair. Whether they run banks or play football or act in popular television shows, it's none of your business.
Absolutely none of your business.
Or have columns in newspapers, really.
Or indeed edit Private Eye. It could be any of them. These are 4 people who are very disappointed at a photo me booth.
The answer is, there is an odd one out, but for legal reasons we can't tell you which one or why.
Judges are making up privacy law as they see fit. We don't have a proper privacy law, which you lot in Parliament should have got round to, but you haven't. And it's time you did to stop judges just making it up as they go along. Because they inevitably balance freedom of the individual privacy against the press's freedom of expression. And obviously in the case of a load of slappers and footballers, it's pretty arguable. But one day a proper case will come along where we need to know what's happening, and we won't be able to because of these stupid injunctions.
What are the consequences of us breaking these rules? Like, if I know who one of these people is and I break, what would happen to me, Rod?
You'd go to jail.
You'd get the question right first.
Yeah. So there's a point in it.
So already you're a winner.
A point, yes.
And then it's not great after that. But let's just
focus on the game.
Focus on the game in
now.
question. Let's just get this done and then worry about your future after.
Yeah.
People are like tea bags. What?
They work well in hot water, but they then have to be poured through the spout of opportunity into the cup of hopefulness. They come in many shapes and sizes, and we shouldn't try to find the perfect tea bag because some are triangular, some are round, and some are square. And some aren't even tea bags. They're loose tea. And they need to be looked after more than the other tea. Because they haven't been put in a bag. They haven't been given boundaries.
After driving round the streets of Berkshire, a pensioner finally tracks down the gang who stole her curtains.
It's a fascinating picture because you don't see what it is they're looking at. You see, Hillary Clinton looks so thoughtful. I like to think that if you look the other way, it would just be Michelle showing them colour swatches to new situations. I'm not sure. One of these 2 people is Joe Biden, but they look identical. I thought maybe they used one of those panoramic cameras and Joe Biden, for a bit of a laugh, ran round. I think he could be in it twice.
The idea that no one in Pakistan knew he was there. Do you know Mr. Bin Laden at all? Do you chat over the fence? Yes, he's lovely. He's lovely. Keeps himself to himself.
They all sound like Alan Bennett in Pakistan. He was very nice. Oh, yes. We had a sponge finger and a cup of tea.
I don't know about the beard, but...
Hang on. Do you mean for burning rubbish, or do you mean...
Ineffectively.
That's just rubbish where you're burning that.
That's how the neighbours knew, though. Because he didn't put out, amusingly, his bins.
That's right.
The rest of them, dutifully, because they're all Alan Bennett, putting out the bins every day. And there's Mr. Bin Laden, and he burns the lot. Why?
He may be dead, he may be seriously wounded, he may be in Afghanistan, he may be somewhere else.
That was some years ago, obviously.
His puppet's a bit crap, though, isn't it? It's not fooling anyone. You can see the fingers and everything. Come on, Donna.
So who...
Let's start a war. We will not start a war. Let me start a war. Oh, you cheeky puppet.
How do they select seals?
With names like that, they're just anyone Welsh, and you're in. You just go, do you want to join the... All right, I'd quite like to find out Bin Laden, me. Mind if I... Give me a fish and I'd be right in there. That's how they do it.
Why did the burial at sea upset some Muslim fundamentalists?
Because they were in a dinghy just underneath.
And he was respectfully buried from a height of 30,000 feet. So when he hit the dinghy, he was doing it over 80.
And unfortunately, it was a rubber dinghy, and he bounced straight back up. And the Navy SEALs got a shock when he emerged. Right? Oh, bloody hell! Look who's there! I thought we got rid of him. I chucked him out the back. Watch that beard on the rotors. Flying around.
Why were they upset?
Sorry?
Why were they upset?
Hair in the rotors.
No, everyone was looking at the men's clothes. You see Cameron's tie? Oof.
Quickly, though, who wasn't there? Who wasn't at the wedding?
I wasn't there.
I wasn't there.
He wasn't there.
Yeah.
Gordon Brown. Tony Blair.
Lionel Blair.
The late Harold Wilson.
Tony the Tiger from...
The Honey Monster?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
The Royals wanted Tony Blair, they just couldn't afford him. Shall we turn our attention to the outfits? We're going to play a little game called What's Wrong With This Outfit?
Yeah, one of the ginger ones turned up as Satan.
I'm sure it's going to be very friendly and nice about all these ladies who tried very hard to look nice, worried about it, went to the hairdresser, went shopping several times, asked their mums, does it look all right? I'm sure we're going to pay tribute to the effort they made for that important occasion.
OK, let's have a look at the first loser.
What's wrong with this outfit?
Well, it's lovely and cheerful, isn't it? Nice colour, very flattering.
No hat. She didn't have a hat on.
She didn't have a hat on.
Oh, I tell you what was wrong with that one. 3 people wore the same thing.
That's exactly right, yes. Have a look at
How
this.
did they get into that?
Sorry. No, look. Is that every woman's worst nightmare? I mean, apart from being assaulted in a park.
Sounds like a cue for a song.
Let's have a look at the dress. I mean, Victoria, what do you think of the dress?
Just ask it again, but slightly more patronising.
Look. Oh, look at William looking at her, look.
It's magical! It's absolutely magical!
Be anywhere else!
Magical! Kate's life is going to change so much,
Look at her holding onto her father's hand so tightly. She's holding onto her father's hand so tightly.
Bless them. I am...
Why couldn't that have been the whole coverage?
Round 2. And in tribute to this week's historic AV referendum, the stories for this round will be chosen by the alternative voting system. On your ballot papers, you will have 4 stories to choose from. All you have to do is place them in your chosen order of preference. The story that receives the lowest number of votes will then be eliminated, and the 4th choice will receive the 2nd choice votes until... Yep, it's very simple. It's very simple indeed.
Some people just don't get it.
Anyone ever been distracted by a gnome?
Yes. Yeah, I was doing my English show level. And
someone shoved it up his arse.
Yeah. It was a known enemy, so I knew who he was. No, known? You groaned at a joke that you made up yourself. I said known enemy. You thought I'd said gnome, so you groaned. So it's you should be groaning at. You ought to be ashamed of yourself.
Oh, and Bo's Trigo comes down and hits it up towards us. And is it going to hit us?
ball has just come right through our window here, and Edwards had a blow it in the back, I'm afraid.
The bizarre thing, this is the third time it's happened to that commentator.
That is exactly right, the third time.
Well, that's no accident.
He's very unlucky.
Bevan told the Mirror when the ball went through the window, the batsman put his fist in the air as if to say, I've been trying to do that for years. A, B, C, and...
Well, it's going to be a super injunction thing anyway. One of them almost looks identifiable, but I'm worried I'll start and policeman will come on.
No, you're all right. That's Andrew Marr. And the odd one out is Mark, because we know about the injunction now, because it's been lifted.
But you played quite a part in this, though, didn't you, I believe?
Well, I got a lot of credit for a story that I never actually ran. I was going to. I challenged the super injunction. Then he went to the Mail and lifted the injunction and confessed. So, hooray!
Why did he get a super injunction in the first place?
Because he'd had an affair with someone and there was a child which he thought was his, and then it turned out later it wasn't his after DNA test, so...
He got DNA tests. They didn't just look at the ears and go, nah. A DNA test? It's either yours or Captain Spock's.
Who is the father?
It's like you want to go to prison.
I heard it was...
It was the drummer from the Steve Miller Band. It was the head saxophonist in the Glenn Miller Band.
What? That was him, but it isn't. It isn't either of the Miller bands.
Someone else entirely.
Someone else entirely. Oh, God, do I want to go to jail? No, not hugely.
Oh, go on.
Oh, right.
It's good for the programme. We can
Me not being on it.
Go to a live link at you in Wandsworth, banging your tin mug against the bars.
It's not like that anymore. I went to Ford Open.
Did you?
And the governor said to me, you'd like it here, there's a bridge club.
Ian Stanley Hislop. You are a habitual criminal.
The odd one out is Andrew Marr. Sorry.
I think I might have got an odd one out right for the first time in about 20 years. Fantastic. Look, it's all sad now, isn't it? 1 year on.
I couldn't give a Cosmin 4X, Ravy.
Oh.
He's so lonely.
But it's coalition government. You share the responsibilities. The Conservatives do the winning.
But it seems that Ed Miliband isn't really sort of like... He's not making the inroads that people hoped he would make. And it seems to me they're missing an opportunity here because there's brothers. Obviously, there's David as well. They need to find... Because they could virtually swap and nobody would know. But if you find somebody who looks a bit like the two of them, replace Ed Miliband with the bloke who looks a little bit like the two of them, you get used to it. Oh, yeah, he's grown a beard now. And then David Miliband can come in about 3 or 4 months later and everybody will just think it's the same bloke.
Genius.
It is.
It's pretty amazing, because 1 year on, the Conservative Party gains seats. Yes, Britain, tough opposition there.
But it's like the left wing are only happy if they're losing, because then it's like the good old days when they're in opposition for ages.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than being in power.
You watch Ed Miliband the next few weeks, he'll be started talking behind frosted glass. And then you'll just see half his face behind the door, and that's how they do it. You watch.
Poor old Nick Clegg, he's actually a regular at my restaurant.
Is that why he's poor old Nick Clegg? I saw a pun in whichever paper Kelvin Mackenzie writes, it must be the Sun, I suppose. And when Osama bin Laden was captured, he had this little joke. He said that the Irish SAS stormed into a department store because they heard on the 5th floor there was summer bed linen.
No!
Last week's episode, summer bed linen.
Oh, he's just...
And it's stuck in my head, and now it's stuck in yours. Who do we sue? Can I take out an injunction against that joke so we don't have to hear it? It's not a joke, is it?
Are we done?
Yeah, I think
Thanks.
so. Let's go. Oh, sorry, there's more.
Some of the council results were
I
very...
didn't know it was timed.
You seem upset that we're making jokes. Have you had quite enough? It's like a school teacher.
Ready for your main course now?
It's your time you're wasting
It's getting
here.
cold.
Yeah.
Summer bed linen. Any joke written by spell check.
Clegg, weak and out of his depth. Miliband, out of his depth and weak. Cameron, arrogant and smug.
But in his depth, he's fine. He's in the right depth. Arrogantly and smugly weeing into the water. And making us drink it.
Yeah.
OK.
Does he really make us drink it?
He does, yeah.
Well, I'm not bothering with that.
David Millet's...
Millet's?
No. He was too intense. Hey, right, sorry.
Don't lead your own applause. It doesn't look good.
I've got a drink of water and start again.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fine. Can we just talk about your starter? Because obviously it's lacked a little bit of focus here, isn't it? It seems the two of you actually fighting against the concept here. You've come up with mince and you've got sponge pudding. I mean, how do you think that's... Do you see the two of them coming together? Do you think that's going to work in the end?
Mince and a sponge pudding?
Yes. I don't watch your show. Well, no, I did, actually. I did. No, I watched it the other day to find out who you were. And... I did research.
Very good.
So I think you're doing brilliantly.
Thank you.
Whoever you are.
There was some bad news for Ed Miliband this week.
Yeah.
What was it?
The bloke who's trying to pretend to be him and his brother's gone on holiday. He said, I'm off, I can't. He's off.
I don't mind if Scotland breaks away, as long as Gordon Brown's in Scotland.
Australians get an opinion.
It was an Australian who managed to stop England being in Scotland in the first place, Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
To which the Cabinet responded, huzzah!
It's huzzah.
You know, I knew you would know how to say that. And where do you learn how to recite this? Is it something they kind of teach you?
Osmosis.
That's a new college in Oxford.
How old is the boy, then?
He's 12.
I was 19 before I got into a girl's skirt.
Ian, you went to a posh school. How important is it to take your trousers off to get on?
The important thing, whether you're wearing worsted trousers or tweed, is to keep everything on and be as hot as possible for the entire summer.
Yeah.
Prepares you for the colonies.
Yeah. There is this ridiculous fashion at the moment where young men walk around as if they're as if they're carrying very large rocks in their trousers. And it's peer pressure. It's like rah-rah skirts 20, 30 years ago when women wore... They made them look like they were wearing giant nappies. And now you've got this sort of thing where your trousers are halfway down your... I mean, how is that... where... You know, how does something like that catch on? It just seems to be incredible.
Well, I'm bothered about the fact that rah-rah skirts clearly scarred you 20 to 30 years ago.
No, unlike Richard, I didn't get into rah-rah skirts for some time.
You know, Richard once asked me out at college.
I
People
did,
wonder why I said no.
I was 19 and yet to get into a girl's skirt. You could have been...
I think you've lost your chance there.
I said, would you let's go out with me? I said no, and you went, it's worth a try. And then you went, and then you went straight off to someone else.
Yeah, that was my technique. That was my very good technique in the first year. I started with the most beautiful girls.
Yeah.
Then got down to Samira.
You said she turned you down.
My big brother's here as well, Richard. Yeah, afterwards.
All right, I'll give him a go.
The school has a firm dress code, which includes no leggings or capri pants and no excessive makeup or nail polish, which is bad news for Head of Geography, Mr Wilson.
Have you checked there isn't a Mr Wilson there? Because I can feel a super injunction.
There's a lot of these super injunctions flying around at the moment. There is the... obviously we can't sort of say anything about the identity of these people, but there is an editor of a prominent satirical magazine... of which there are many available in your newsagents, has been photographed dressed as William Pitt the Younger. So... I'm not saying it's not you, Ian. It's not you. It's not you. It is. It's in.
And so to round two.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get more second round than this. It's the news bullock. Buzz when you know which news
bullock.
Buzz when you know which news story each cut of meat reveals. Sirloin.
Have you been to an orgy, Ian? I can imagine you being quite... I can imagine you going around politely introducing yourself to people.
So that's what it was?
Yes.
Samoa's decided to move to the other side of the date line.
Yeah.
It used to have its time linked to America, but now it wants it linked back to Australia and New Zealand. They're literally shifting themselves. Well, they're not literally, are they? Anyway, somehow...
They're the islands.
Yeah. With the theme tune. That was Hawaii. Not Samoa at all.
Was that a little dance you were doing there?
No, I was the guy with the paddle.
Oh, I see.
I was Book Him Dano. The other one. Ho Chi plays Chin Ho.
That was an ITV show. How did you come to see this?
I must have been round at a friend's house.
Yeah, well done, Ian. This is the news
Well,
that's...
going round a friend's house.
Watching it Y50
and getting everything completely wrong. And have been confused. So someone on an American TV channel announced that Obama was dead.
Yes.
When they meant Osama was dead.
But they wished Obama was dead
unless
on
it was Fox News.
Unless it was
happy.
summer bed linen.
She had a secret identity on Facebook where she was posting stuff about Sarah Palin's really cool.
Oh, really?
She should be president. And it was her in a secret identity.
The woman you love, Ian.
Are you saying she wrote... I can't believe it.
And in Glasgow, Scotland's hopes of qualifying for a major football tournament look as distant as ever as they reveal their new centre-forward.
That's Mrs. Hoon driving. There she goes. Oh, she's good, isn't she?
This is what Chris Huhne thinks Essex looks like.
It came out that he tried to get someone else, i.e. her, to take his speeding points in 2003. So it could be the arrest of a cabinet minister. Can you imagine that?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
By the way, Ian, if you don't want these points, I'm quite prepared to say I answered the question for you. That helps in any way.
Is this an exciting story?
Yes.
But is it?
Well, it's convinced me. When's the film come out?
I've been thinking about this all week, and I've just kind of concluded that I didn't care at all about it. Because I knew I was on the programme. Someone called me and told me. And...
the system's developed over 20 years.
Yes, it's very good. And I just thought, well, this is not interesting. It's almost gripping in how uninteresting it is.
It's a major crime. Yeah. I mean, this coalition, they've got a senior person who's, you know, got speeding point offences. I mean, the last government, you know, they were whistle clean. No war crimes to check there.
Which, amongst other things, will see more of us driving eco-motors, like the one our car-loving Environment Secretary's in. No, that's not the infamous journey that's got him in a sticky situation. This one was powered by human waste.
How do you fill it up?
Well, I'll tell you.
Go to a station.
Well, this is how it works.
Some sort of funnel involved.
It's a good question. This is how it works. The driver's seat is connected straight to the fuel tank, and then someone tells you that your wife's recorded a conversation you had about penalty points. Brilliant idea. Meanwhile, why has Ed Miliband called for Ken Clarke's resignation?
You got to do something.
Anyone know what happens if the Olympic torch goes out?
Yes, they have to forget the whole thing.
That particular torchbearer is executed.
Anyone got a clue?
Yeah, a fairy dies.
How about they will relight it? Is that too difficult?
There's always a way round these things.
I know. Have any of you applied for tickets yet? Any of you?
Are you on the show?
You're being left behind.
They might be.
I think not.
They might be.
The money was
I've
being...
applied.
I mean, what tickets are you going to get?
I don't know, I applied for a whole load of stuff. I hope I don't get it all, because I'll be bankrupt.
Britain's not excited about 2012. Is there anyone here who's not excited? Are you on the show?
To be fair, they might be, because I started off by sitting over there for about 5 years. And I've nipped on one day and I've worked my way in. I sat there for about 6 months, just
That's a Queen's ankle if ever I saw one.
Is it?
Yeah. I've never seen him in the wild, but that looks like a Queen. She has a metal arse.
It's the only logical explanation. Is it magnetic? It always points north, apparently.
She and the Duke of Edinburgh went to the Guinness Brewery. A pint was poured. It was placed invitingly on the bar, but names remained. The Queen is not one for stout and turned away. That left the Duke. He seemed tempted, but the dreams of the marketing department were dashed. The pint was untouched.
First of all, why did all this happen in a bank? And second of all, they're not rabbits. That's like something you do to attract some kind of animal.
I can lip read, and the Queen's just saying, "Where's my mother when you need her?"
Too soon. Well, Graham, you're from Dublin. I mean, first of all, is Guinness a sectarian drink? A sectarian drink? Yeah. I don't think so. Yeah, I've never been a Guinness drinker, to be honest, which will probably get me... No, but you are Irish, so I know, that's the point of asking you the question.
Yeah. He's going to ask you about a pig under your arm in a minute.
Anyone know what they've lost recently?
They lost a birthday card I sent my sister.
Yeah, well, they're looking into that still.
Make that public now.
Is anything in your life delayed? Trains, birthday cards, nothing arrives on time? Nothing.
Yeah.
That's very disappointing.
Puberty. Actually, a work by Papua New Guinea's
Did
most...
you just say puberty?
I did, actually.
Did you mean to say it out loud? It just came out.
You know, sometimes you're thinking something
say
and you
something,
think, God, it'd be terrible. I said this in front of thousands of people on the television.
Thousands? Let's not get above ourselves. There's dozens watching this. Tommy writes this letter. Dear Father Christmas, I wonder if you could send me a £5 note. We don't have much money. And it goes to the post office, you know, and somebody sees it there and thinks, oh, look at this. This is nice, isn't it? Look, you know, this kid wants £5. Because they have a bit of a whip round. £4.50. Well, that's enough. We'll put £4. We'll send it back to the kid. You know, a nice little gesture. So the kid gets this letter and he sends a letter back to Father Christmas. So they open it in the post office a week later. It says, Dear Father Christmas, thank you for the money. I'm sure you sent the right amount, but those thieving bastards at the post office...
He's fine. Hey, I'm fine.
Alarm bells might have rung when the car in front just scraped over, but no.
Oh dear, 18 feet long, 8 tons in weight it may be. A modest ramp at the gate of the US Embassy left it stranded. I could watch that clip on a continuous loop. over and over again.
Mother Nature has made them look silly there, hasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, no, it played a lot of havoc, particularly with Michelle Obama's hair. Here she is a little later in the day. This is Don King standing behind me.
Why does Prince Philip in every photograph with the Obamas look like he's just thought of the most inappropriate joke? Kate Middleton was wearing Reese. She was wearing a dress by Reese, which is a nice, trendy make. Who
Reese?
Make my suits. So that's why I said it, because I thought I might get sent some free ones.
Really? Is that how you get stuff, is it?
Yep, you
just
just
on the
say
telly,
it.
you say it?
Every show I ever go on, I say
Sure.
Nando's. I don't even have any... Just one day I'm like,
Go on.
Oh, do you know what? This has been done by a Black & Decker workmate, I think.
I've got 25 of these desks at home. It's handy if you're running a brothel, though, because when the light comes on, they can go up the stairs.
Here it is, look. That's his scrawl. And then look at that, 24th of May, 2008.
Well, the only logical explanation is that he's a time traveller.
And he looks so relaxed because he hasn't yet won, and so he hasn't got the...
That's right, he's wondering why everybody knows who he is.
Yeah.
Well, it's very strange.
To Her Majesty, the Queen, to the vitality of the special relationship between our peoples, and, in the words of Shakespeare, to this blessed plot, this earth, this realm, this England, to the Queen.
She's looked at him and said, "You've ruined my tune."
Yes.
I like this one.
Under her breath, not yet! And to symbolise the common bond between Britain and America, what did David Cameron and President Obama choose as a photo opportunity?
Barbecue.
Barbecue, yes. And the BBC News broke this in a very exciting way. Obama's state visit, British sausages and beef burgers on the menu! What I loved about the barbecues, it was like Obama and Cameron, like, sleeves rolled up. They were there, the men cooking the meat, and you knew that Clegg was on salad duty somewhere. Being forced, desperate to get onto the go. No, just do one sausage. Those buns won't cut themselves.
Actually, look, they thought he was doing the onions, and then they realised he was just crying.
In fact, can we just see it? Let's have a look at the barbecue. This is just... it's not staged in any way. Look, perfectly normal. Two men in white shirts and ties.
Ties, aren't they?
With tongs. It's just, as you say, yeah. Nick Clegg is being roasted.
Oh, yes, you see the salad? The women do the salad.
Yeah.
That's what girls do at a barbecue, do the salad.
Clegg's underneath the table, though, cutting up cucumber.
Oh, there's a scandal.
Yeah.
Underneath the table with a cucumber.
The adult version of Cluedo. Underneath the table with a cucumber while being watched by the butler through a long telescope.
Yeah, in the Belgian suite with a gimp mask.
Yeah. You know quite a bit about this Belgian suite.
Oh, I know.
In fact, you spoke of nothing else.
Apparently, the White House offered Nick Clegg, and this is brilliant, they offered the choice to sit around the table or a private brush-by.
Is that in that special room?
In the special... Well, there's two people in the corridor, and one stands at the end, and he goes, "Go!" and he just walks past them. There's a lot of crockery down there.
Is that for the crockery round coming
That's
up?
for the crockery round, yeah.
Okay.
Nick Clegg comes in later and cleans up for us. We don't know who that is. Do we legally know who that is?
Is it Gordon Ramsay's dad?
Is it an actor? Oh, it's Ryan Giggs.
Yes, it's Ryan Giggs.
It's Ryan Giggs, yes. Basically, Ryan Giggs has spent an awful lot of money to ensure that he's become world famous for stuff other than football.
And the reason John Hemming, the MP who announced it in the House of Commons, he said that a columnist was about to be arrested for retweeting this, Giles Corrin, but you weren't allowed to mention who that was, so someone would be arrested in this country for the first time and put in jail without you being allowed to know what they were in for or who they were. And I think at that point he thought, this is getting silly. So he blurted the name out.
Well, the law is clear. There is still a court order in force which says that we can't name Ryan Giggs as the person who brought these proceedings.
Stop! So which media outlet was the first to sail a bit close to the wind?
Was that a sign-up for the deaf on the Real News? Just quietly kind of gone like that.
Footballer. OK, one of Rolf's contemporaries was Don, the German pointer, and he apparently could imitate the human voice. He could say, "Hungry, give me cakes," in German. The German for "hungry, give me cakes" is "Hunger, gib mir Kuchen."
That's Geordie. And speak like that, you get sacked from American X Factor.
Yeah, that's right.
Sheriff Coolidge.
A new book claims that, as a potential secret weapon, the Nazis tried to train dogs to talk. Hitler had 2 German shepherds called Blondie and Bella. And according to the Daily Mail, moments before committing suicide in his bunker, Hitler killed Blondie. Doesn't say what happened to Bella. Presumably she managed to talk her way out of it.
The Tesco's curry must make a noise.
Does it make a noise?
Yeah. Does it cluck?
No, it doesn't do that, but you're right. You're absolutely right. Tesco's is the odd one out.
Oh, right, lovely.
Very well done.
Yeah, they do.
Yes, Tesco's it is the... no, you're wrong.
No, but for a moment I was right, and I shall live with that forever.
Sorry, I was just toying with you there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Tesco's...
I felt toyed with.
Yeah, no, Tesco's... Yeah, it's Tesco's microwavable...
Are you being sponsored by this company?
So.
They get an awful lot of coverage in the last 20 seconds.
I just changed my mind. No, yes, it is. Yeah, you're right.
For the sake of balance, Tesco's is shit.
It whistles. It does
Whistles?
It whistles to let you know when it's ready. There we go. You see, this is special packaging.
Yes.
Which will start whistling to tell you your meal is ready. You might not hear it because the microwave will be beeping to tell you that your meal is ready.
But your dog will hear it and he'll come up and say, "Your meal is ready!"
Africa Bambaataa, Beware the Funk is Everywhere.
Yeah.
It's from a 1986 hip-hop album, which is completely silent.
Didn't Nicolas Cage
Hang on,
do this
wait.
rather before?
What's that?
Nicolas Cage, John Cage.
John Cage.
Oh, no,
Nicolas Cage, the film actor.
I wish he'd be silent in a lot of films.
Your paddling into popular culture has led you down a very path here, sir. You pretend to know who these people are.
I stand reprimanded.
And TV shows add laughter to jokes, even when nothing funny has been said.
People laughed after they heard the fake laugh. Yeah. That's a good thing to know.
That's a postmodern...
We should play that laugh all the time.
Paul reveals his astonishing what?
Is it a documentary about Hollywood? It's going to start on BBC Two in about 5 minutes from now. Who booed that? The Jedward gene enters the reptile kingdom. The Hamiltons are doing pantomime in Aldershot.
This is what a zoo would look like under AV.
Did you go? Were you there? Oh, you
No. Too busy doing the cocaine.
I like the idea of the Daleks being retired and having to go and live in a home with each other. Sooner they just tell boring theatrical anecdotes all day. Do you remember when we took on the Doctor?
The Daleks talk like Alan Bennett, like all your impressions. Every impression is Alan Bennett.
I'd like to see him, now they're retired, come back maybe in other shows like EastEnders.
Yeah.
The new landlord of the Vic. Or Pat's new husband. Pat. I can't do an impression.
No, it's terrific. Doesn't sound at all like Alan Bennett.
Ian can do an impression, but it will sound like Alan Bennett. Can do a Dalek in EastEnders.
Go on, say exterminate, Ian.
Oh, exterminate. Look, I mean, you don't think... I mean, they're actors, the Daleks.
Yeah, but they're typecast, to be honest. I mean, how many Shakespearean roles are you going to get with a plunger sticking out your head? 4 at the most. Like Daleks of Verona, you know.
Davros and Juliet.
Some of the Daleks
Yes.
actually made a strange career choice in 2005. Do you know what that might have been?
Formed a boy band?
No, they actually, according to The Sun, they
Yes.
appeared in a porn film where they would chase girls around and group them with their plungers.
Oh, that sucks.
Get out.
Not Michael Billington from The Guardian, are you?
Do you want to hear my impression of Cheryl Cole?
Yes.
Oh, no, I've been fired.
here's a message you tweeted last week. Bought self best prez.
Oh, yeah.
It's a tide clock.
Fabulous.
You sync it to the tide on your part of the coast and it tells you at a glance what the state of the tide is.
Best buy of the year thus
Sounds
far.
fantastic.
Great.
Why did you feel the need to tweet this? Could you not say to yourself, because I bought a clock, it's very nice, good for me,
Because I've...
and then carry about your business without disturbing the rest of us? Why don't you just do something interesting?
That's why I bought a tide clock.
Put the phone over here.
Yeah.
Go for a life over here.
To me, Ian, a tide clock is interesting.
Oh, right.
And I stand by it.
No, I'm not saying it isn't. I'm just saying I didn't have to know that.
If you go to a certain park in South London and sit on a bench, you'll hear Michael Barrymore's voice as he'll be fucking hell, Richard.
Sorry.
You've got your phone on.
I thought I switched it off.
You'll be able to tweet about this later on, won't you?
Hang on a sec. OK, and send. Right, thanks for that. Sorry about that.
It's OK, I'm just going to finish this email.
He's quite gloomy, though, Eeyore.
There's a new Disney cartoon. Has he been written out of it?
Yeah, the Americans are doing a version, and the new character's called Yee-Haw. It's a really upbeat kind of donkey, yeah. Should we go on an expedition, Eeyore? Yeah! Great.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Let's do that, yeah. Remember the first expedition I went on was 1867. It was a long time ago. I was a true donkey then, but I'm much older now, here. I'm auditioning for any roles. I also do German U-boat captains at the drop of a hat. Bang, what's going on? This is... Another thing I do.
I hear my German U-boat captain.
Guess who it sounds like?
Oh, no, it's depth charges.
And the process upset the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Yes, no, he's come out on the side of the poor. God, that'll get him in trouble. What does he think he's there for? Stick to talking about gays and women. Stop interfering in politics. Ooh.
Hang on, I don't know who this is an impression of at the moment. It's not Alan Bennett, that we know.
Well, you might be able to help me out with this question, then.
Anything for you, Joe.
Oh, I'm so glad we're back on that footing already, Reg. Having paused, engaged...
Would you like the rest of us to leave?
No, me and Reg...
You're not going to help.
Me and Reg would like the rest of you to watch.
Oh, yeah. I can't get it out of my head. It's gone, OK. It's gone.
I'm not being horrible to him. I love dullness. You should meet my husband. Compared to him, Ian seems like the great Bambino, whoever that is.
Great Bambino?
Yes,
What, with the white tights and the silvery waistcoat?
I've no idea, I just made him up.
So am I. I'm making him up as well. I'm
him.
adding flesh to the figure.
Yes. Joe, didn't you win a BAFTA recently for Best Female Comedy Performance? Oh, no, sorry, that was me. Sorry, Nathan.
Forgiven.
Oh, here we go. Ooh. I think he's going to hit that thing at the bottom. He's going to hit that yellow thing. Go on. Here he goes. And you're saying this is Boris Johnson? Go on, hit the yellow thing, hit the yellow thing.
He seems to be being chased by the Sun newspaper.
How did the Sun get a copyright on CCTV footage?
I expect it has a relationship with the police.
Or Satan.
One for the lawyer.
Will take that out.
So it's about his hair transplant, isn't it? It's sort
It
of like
is.
it may be a hair transplant. It looks a bit like crop circles. Perhaps he's planting crops. Perhaps he's growing a full head of wheat. You're looking at me as if I'm mad, Reg. He's growing wheat on his head so he can feed his children.
I'm looking at you like we ain't gonna win.
OK. I'll revise my answer. This is Wayne Rooney, who this week has had a hair transplant.
Thank you.
And you know how the operation actually works?
Yeah. They find the hairs on his arse and pull them all the way through.
I knew it.
He found a donor, but unfortunately it was Bobby Charlton.
Joe,
Yes.
guess the point.
You just got a point for that. All right, here, Reg. Here's another question for you. Get this right, you might get another point. How much did the operation apparently cost?
In the future, when you ask questions, can you leave out the sarcasm?
We're trying to win here.
You could do something about your tone, too.
Who actually encouraged Wayne to start using Twitter?
Ryan Giggs. Is it not?
You gotta give us 2 for that one, baby. Give us 2. It don't even matter if it ain't true.
Rio Ferdinand.
It was Rio Ferdinand.
I think that shot would be funnier if you reversed the image. I think if you started out there and then went in, that would be funnier.
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
This just in. You know, at first when you said, let's play it backwards, that'll be more funny.
Yeah.
I ain't believe you, man.
Those people who are asleep?
They were in a trance, hypnotised, and unfortunately the hypnotist had a stage accident where he tripped over the feet of a member of the audience and was knocked out, leaving them in a trance and unable to be rescued.
They found themselves stuck thinking they were Martians after he tripped over on stage and knocked himself out before he could bring them round. Do you want to have a little look at him in action?
Yes.
I've always hoped the Martians would be more interesting than that when we finally established contact with them.
What, just asleep on a chair?
Just asleep.
They're not used to our atmosphere.
What do you call a funny German what?
Rare.
Hair ha-ha.
I think, Ian, you're near enough to it.
There was some survey that said that ranking countries by how funny they are, the Germans came bottom.
That's right. Answer, there isn't one, apparently.
Right. But I think it was voted for largely by countries who the Germans had invaded at some stage.
The Germans are not a funny race. Knock, knock, who's there? The Gestapo. That's it.
We're going to have the German ambassador complaining to this programme again.
Yes. Yeah. Did he complain before?
He has complained repeatedly about how the members of this panel are just stuck in the Second World War and it's our only reference, it's the only thing we ever think about German, and it's the Gestapo again. No sense of humour, you see.
For you, Ambassador, the joke is over.
The dude in the middle is doing the British thing of, if I don't look at that person, then they don't exist.